Good morning. This is Professor Anderson with a little bit of feedback for your writing assignment number 3, the memo to a decision maker. And as you can see on the split screen, I have a copy of the PDF pulled up so that we can just do a one-to-one comparison. And I'll just start from the top and go down. So you use the correct heading. That's awesome. The next thing that we look at is the summary. So 1 to 2 sentences where you mention why you're writing this. So you've done that. 1, you've stated the problem, and 2, you've said, I want to conduct further research. Let's go back and look at the specifics and the semantics of this, like the grammar, how we're using it. So let me read to you this first sentence. There is a problem with our changeover policy in our workplace, and we need to take action quickly to change this to make our workplace better for our new airmen coming to this base. Whew. You have put a lot of information into one sentence. So what I recommend is parsing that out a bit, condensing that. So for example, there's a problem with our changeover policy. Our changeover policy is not working efficiently. I'm writing to request information, or our changeover policy is not working efficiently. I don't know that you need to go into much further detail about that. In order to implement changes to this policy, I am requesting permission to conduct primary research into our current situation. So what is the problem and why it needs to be investigated? Again, here, and I think I recall this from your past papers, you want to double check your sentence structure. If you see this little toggle up here, it's called Grammarly. Look it up, and you can download it to your computer. This is a grammar checker for you. You can copy and paste your papers into it, and it will check over for you a lot of little inconsistencies that I see. And they mostly focus on grammar. One is you have a lot of run-on and or fragment sentence structures. And then 2 is the sentence-verb agreement. Well, you give a ton of information here. What you want to do is to use a series of paragraphs, separate this by problem. And maybe what would be good is to outline it. So say, the problem is our changeover policy. Define the changeover policy. Next paragraph. The first problem it creates is define the problem. Next paragraph. The next problem it creates is define the problem. And then finally, gathering more information, conducting a primary research on this problem will help us to evolve a best practices solution. So you have here a pretty condensed view of this. I would check that sentence structure again. For my secondary research, I will use changeover policy surveys. Now this is secondary, this is your primary research. You want to move this down here. Your secondary research is what you have already conducted. So a review of scholarly journals and government literature or government policy and procedure or Air Force policy and procedure shows that, and describe what the information that you've gathered from your UMUC library research, what did that tell you about changeover policies and the problems inherent? And then use this, you'll do a survey and interview. My secondary, I'd like to conduct a survey, disperse a survey and conduct interviews with fellow airmen and coworkers to just, to gather information on insight into how the problem impacts them, so that you can once you understand how, from primary research, you're going to send out these surveys, you're going to conduct these interviews, and once you understand how it impacts, then you can determine how you can create a solution to it. So you don't know exactly what the recommendation is going to be. You do know that benefiting it, what will happen is you'll gather better understanding of the whole process. And then once you understand the whole problem, the whole process, you'll be able to better implement a strategy for change. And then in conclusion, again, you want to just go through that, go through there and look for sentence fragments and run-on sentences. So I look forward to reading your final copy.